Hey everybody, welcome to our next video. That's the Pacific Ocean over my shoulder. We're back in Mexico. We're going to take you through all of our prep work to get us down to Mexico and go over some things we've been doing the last couple of months. Stay tuned.
We are Kyle and Nicole, avid travelers from Michigan. In 2021, Kyle quit his job and we have been traveling across North America in our travel trailer while I continue to work full-time from the road. We love to create content showing amazing destinations, things to do, free camping spots, and RV life. We hope you will like, subscribe, and comment on our videos and join us for these fantastic adventures. You never know where we will pop up next.
So this year we didn't just wing going to Mexico, we actually did some planning. And we had a list of things that we knew we can't find in Mexico easily. And we wanted to stock up on things we know we'll run out of that are hard to find. So I did a whole bunch of grocery shopping, made a big old Costco run, a big old trip to the Walmart, and we got a whole bunch of stuff to take with us over the next couple of months. So this is by far the most groceries I've ever bought. At about $315 worth of stuff. I didn't even get any pop. Usually I buy a few 2 liters of that. Probably would add 10 more bucks. So we're loaded up, ready for Mexico. This is on top of the $125 at Costco yesterday. It's gonna fill the truck up. It's a good thing there's no passenger with me today. I'm gonna need that seat. The other thing that we did, and it's the same thing as last year, we stopped at the Oregon Pipe National Monument Campground. We dumped our tanks, filled up all of our water, so we'd have water from Arizona instead of Mexico. And one change that we decided to make this year is while we were at campgrounds in Mexico, we just used their water, hooked up like normal. And then we ended up filling our tank with some of that campground water. We're not going to do any of that this year. Instead, we are just going to use water from the water purification places, which is supposed to be safe drinking water. And we're going to just fill our tanks that way the whole time and not ever hook up to the Mexican water. That way our tap water is always drinkable because we do drink from our tap water. And then it's not as important to sanitize it when we get home. Another thing we tried to do to prepare for Mexico is to make sure that our truck was ready to go. If you've been following us since last year, you know that we broke down in Mexico and in Canada. And we wanted to try and prevent that from happening again this year. So had a little problem with the steering. I took it into a dealer in Lake Havasu and they were unable to help us. So we still have that issue ongoing. And we've developed another issue with our transmission potentially. So we had a long conversation about it, and we've just decided that we already broke down in Mexico once. We know how to handle things, and we weren't sure what else to do. So we hopefully made the best decision, bought a little part, try to get things better, and here we are still. But on that note, I am going to make some videos about the truck in the future. I want to talk about how I've towed and how we're over 200,000 miles now with a gas engine, which is probably somewhat of a rarity to be towing across the country. So look for those in the next month or so. There should be some videos about our towing experiences. Hopefully we can share them with you.
Our first stop in Mexico was to Puerto Penasco, which is in the state of Sonora. This is a great first stop for us because it's a super easy border crossing at the Lukeville-Sonoita border. You can get your FMMs there, and then it's a pretty short drive and very easy down to Puerto Penasco. We stayed at the same campground that we did last year, which was the RV Park. Super cool, right on the water, and it's a nice way to just kind of ease into our Mexican adventure.
So our next stop, we went from Puerto Penasco to San Felipe. We only stayed one night in San Felipe. It was supposed to be just a nice, easy overnight. It was anything but. The drive there reminded me of what driving in Mexico was like. There's just chaos everywhere. We've got a 2-lane road where we got like 4 cars all going every which way at the same direction. You got pothole-ridden roads. We got a military checkpoint to go through. We had to wait in line a long time. We had a military convoy with a bunch of guys carrying machine guns around that were driving real slow. I just got reminded of what driving in Mexico was like real quickly on that drive. And then we finally arrived to San Felipe. We're trying to get all set up in a nice, beautiful spot facing the ocean. And we get stuck in the soft sand. I tried to turn around, just went a few feet off target, and ended up getting buried in the sand. So we got our traction boards out, first time we ever used them, and we got unstuck probably about 5 minutes. You know, I could have aired down before I went in, but if I aired down every time I might go in soft sand. We'd be airing down all the time out here. Traction boards work just like they're supposed to. You know, we were out in only a few minutes. Highly recommend if you travel alone like we do. We end up in lots of places by ourselves. There's a link below on our Amazon account. Check them out. Somewhere between 50 and 100 bucks. You can get all kinds. It's a pretty good deal. Saved us a lot.
Our next stop in Mexico was to the town of Guerrero Negro, and we were so excited to go back here because this was where we got to pet gray whales last year. We booked a different tour company this time. It was a little bit cheaper, and we got a completely different experience. We didn't get to touch the whales. The day that we went out, it was super windy, super choppy. None of the whales really wanted to come to the boat. We still saw plenty of them, don't get me wrong. It was still very awesome. We saw sea lions, beautiful sand dunes, and they even stopped at the local salt mine, and we got to stand right next to a huge salt mound and hold some salt and even take some with us. We also checked out a really cool sand dune area in Guerrero Negro. It was so beautiful to watch the sand. We went out there at sunset, and the cool thing about this area is that it actually is able to be boondocked on, and we might check that out on the way back north.
Our next stops on our journey were at the Bahia Conception. We made 2 stops just like last year. We stopped at Sanispok and Requesens. They're some of our favorite places, but unfortunately it was a little early in the season for us. And our fruit salad man, we had heard, just had a baby, so we didn't get to see him any days we were there. We were really disappointed. We really looked forward to his cookies, his fruit salads, his banana bread, his jalapeno cheese bread. I'm just getting hungry thinking about all the food. So we're really hoping to stop there on our way north. Hopefully the water will be warmer. We can float around and get our kayak in and just have a good time. After we left Bahia Conception, we made a short drive down to the small town of Loreto. We found a beautiful beach boondocking spot with these amazing palapas that are here. And we spent a few nights here in Loreto, had a wonderful time. We've got a video coming out about the boondocking experience that we have on the beach here. It's a pretty nice place.
Our next stop was to the town of Ciudad, Constitution. This town we had been by before. It's inland, so we just have drove past. But the reason why we stayed there is because it was about an hour from the town I wanted to go to called Puerto Chale, which is a small fishing village on the coast where there are gray whales there as well. And so we took a private boat tour there to see gray whales. We saw beautiful birds, and it was super cool. We have a full video coming out about this.
We had a stop in the city of La Paz. We had a new activity for us. We swam with whale sharks, and it was incredible. We've got a nice little video coming out about that. While we were also in La Paz, we found a nice little boondocking spot, which is probably going to come up in a couple of minutes in this video, and we'll have the video about that spot. We spent some days out there. We also really love the sand dunes in La Paz. It's a nice quiet place. La Paz is a great town. It's one of the bigger cities that we're going to encounter. Great place to get groceries, fill up. We met with some friends. We really enjoyed our time there.
Our next town was to one of our favorite stops, very significant for us, to Cabo Pulmo. This is where we broke down last year and ended up spending 17 nights. We spent 9 nights here this time. We still really enjoy this location. The snorkeling there is some of the best in the world. It is super windy here. It's a challenging place to be, but we love it. The East Cape Road is so beautiful. We got to drive that again. Every time we drive it, we see whales. It's such a wonderful place.
Anything else happened while we were there?
If you remember from last year, during the same time that the truck broke down, Kyle got sick. He got the norovirus. Throwing up, it was terrible. This time, I don't know how he did it, but he got it again. And I thought it was hilarious because how is it possible that you get it again at the same place? And we didn't even do anything the same as last time. This time, however, that jerk, he gave it to me and I got it way worse than he did. Oh my God, it was so awful.
Another cool town that we like to stop in is Los Barriles. We really enjoyed our time there last year. A little bit different this year. One of my favorite things is it's right along the beach where we stay, either in the campground or boondocking. And I like to just be able to walk right to the grocery store. I don't need to drive the truck anywhere in town because it's such a disaster. So I just walk into town while Nicole's working, pick up some groceries, and I go just about every day because I got to carry them back. And so it's just perfect. Everything is fresh that way, and I really like it. And another fun thing that we did is we went on another ATV ride, and that was a blast as well. Some of the best scenery we've ever seen on this ATV ride. We'll have a full video out about that. So that's a pretty amazing thing to do in town as well. Unfortunately, we weren't able to put the kayak in this year. A little too wavy, a little too windy in the days we were there. And as we found out, it's hard to just wait out the wind. It lasts for quite a while, so it was just time to move on.
Our next stop in Baja was to Ensenada de Muertos, which means Cove of the Dead. And what it was is exactly that. Dead fish everywhere. We had seen this beach from our Los Barriles ATV drive and it looked incredible. But when we got there, it was just a bunch of fishermen and dumping all their fish stuff everywhere and birds, and it smelled horrible. We only stayed one night here, but we were still glad that we got to check it out. Our next stop was to the town of El Pescadaro. This is on the very southern edge of the Pacific side of the Baja Peninsula. We did not go there last year. We skipped it for whatever reason. We went there this year. We stayed at a campground that had just opened in October. It was lovely. We loved the owners. It was so relaxing up in the desert. I also fell in love with a little puppy at the campground. We visited the very popular Cerritos Beach, which is perfect for surfing. And we loved walking along the sand. It's so beautiful there. It was a great stop for us. So now we are heading north back out of Baja. This is our first stop here. We're in La Paz Beach Boondocking at this awesome place. This is my one top favorite place to be at. We've seen so much wildlife here. We saw a whale. I got to fly my drone over it. And it's just been so quiet and magical. The scenery here is beautiful, and I will be putting out a full video of this.
So we started this video with the Pacific Ocean behind me. Here we have the Sea of Cortez, which has gotten a little angry today. One of the things that we have to deal with a lot is some wind, but you just go with it, enjoy it. It's kind of fun. Thanks for watching this video. It keeps you up to date on what's been going on. Stay tuned for some of the videos we talked about coming, and watch us on our journey north for Mexico.